Our last speaker today, bless her heart for waiting, is Pat Sledge, who is with the Business and Professional Women. She is a legislative committee chair of Business and Professional Women of North Carolina, a councilman from the city of Spencer, and a longtime board member of the ERA NC Alliance. We love Pat.
I have a couple of props here with me today. Let me take this off. I have a couple of props here with me today. I'm wearing a banner from the Women's... Thank you. I'm wearing a banner from the National Women's History Alliance from a march that I participated in with the the Deltas back in 2013 when they celebrated their 100th anniversary of their march in Washington, D.C. I marched with the Women's History Project, and that group of wonderful black ladies who numbered in the tens of thousands sent the white women to the back, which was the rightful thing to do because in 1913 they marched at the back. I have with me too the story of Alice Paul, and I wear my Alice Paul badge often. I also am wearing today some pins that were given to me just recently, along with this book, by a woman of color in my community. These badges were her mother's, and she fought for equal rights many, many years ago. ERA, it's the American way. North Carolina, ERA 77, First in Freedom. The Women's March, May the 2nd, 1981. We've been working for this day for many, many years. And I have some prepared remarks that I will share with you about the legacy of business and professional women. BPW began in 1919, before women got the right to vote. Prior to the U.S. entry into World War I, the U.S. government recognized that the skills and experience of women would be needed for the war effort. With a grant established by the War Department and guided by executives of the YWCA, the National Federation of Business and Professional Women came to be. The North Carolina Federation of Business and Professional Women was started by a small group of business and professional women from Asheville, Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh, Salisbury, and Winston-Salem, who met in Charlotte on June the 24th and 25th in 1919 for the purpose of organizing the North Carolina Federation of Business and Professional Women's Clubs, Incorporated. On the morning of June the 25th, delegates assembled at the Mint Building where BPW North Carolina was born, and it became the 8th southern state to federate. A constitution and bylaws were adopted and annual dues were established. Included in the resolutions adopted was one asking that the next state legislature ratify the Susan B. Anthony Amendment, the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. So we've been there from the very beginning. Representatives from the 8 states met in July of 1919 in St. Louis, and the National Federation was formed. In December of 1923, the proposed 20th Amendment, written by Alice Paul, the Equal Rights Amendment, was introduced into the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House. BPW USA was one of the first women's organizations to endorse the Equal Rights Amendment in 1937. In my lifetime, we have seen the development of birth control pills, giving women the opportunity to choose when or if to have children. BPW has worked to gain equal pay for equal work and equal opportunities in education. We've lobbied and strengthened the Violence Against Women's Act. We've worked for insurance reform so that women don't have to pay higher premiums than men. BPW's work has helped to reform credit and lending laws so that women applying for credit no longer need to have their husband or a male relative sign for them. A brand of cigarettes marketed to women back in the 80s and 90s slogan was, "You've come a long way, baby." You probably remember that. And in some respects, that is true. But laws are frequently amended or rewritten when an administration changes and can completely be eliminated by the stroke of a pen. Constitutional amendments are not so easily changed. You've heard today that it took North Carolina legislators 51 years to ratify the amendment giving North Carolina women the right to vote. The Equal Rights Amendment has been at the top of the BPW legislative agenda every year since 1937. And it will continue to be there until it becomes a part of the U.S. Constitution and the law of the land. It's way past time for equal rights for all. North Carolina, ratify the ERA. I've always said that there are two things in life that will be the last that I give up. One of them is my commitment to BPW and its work. The second is my dying breath. So stand with me and let's get this legislation passed. Thank you.